Hello everybody, Russian Batman back with another video, and today we got a pretty cool one. I am recreating another Potatomeen thing. This time, I think, last time was a like minifigure pose situation. I did a Spider-Man one, and now I am doing this. This is his, you see it in the corner there. It's kind of blurred out. I use that as reference, but it's Potatomeen's thumbnail to his most recent fantasy showcase video, where he does his whole potato verse, as he likes to call it. But yeah, so this is what I'm recreating because before the video came out, he actually sent me a photo of the thumbnail, and I'm like, you know what? This thumbnail is goated. It's a little bit of a meme, but also the poses are really cool. So it's kind of comprised of two parts, really. I kind of do this drawing in two separate parts. You see there's the part with the dragon, everyone fighting the dragon, and then there's the part with the Potatomeen and his other character pointing at the dragon, doing kind of like the meme face, right? So I actually do this drawing a little bit differently how I do my other drawings. I actually did fully do it in two parts, right? Obviously I did both the sketches, right? Do them in separate layers, but then I did all the refining and all the line work. I kind of did separately. I scratched that. When I do the line work, I do that separately. So I do all the line work for the dragon drawing, all the coloring for the dragon drawing, all the shading for the dragon drawing. Then I take a break. Then I go back and redo, not redo, but then start over with the other drawings. So they're like kind of basically separate drawings. And by the end of the video, I actually do show off kind of the drawing without the Potatomeen and his friend pointing, and with. And by the way, when I say his friend, I actually learned his friend is actually named Chuck. Yeah, so apparently some of these characters just have really, and apparently Potatomeen's character also has a name. I don't remember what it was. It was like something really generic like Chuck. It was kind of funny, but it's cool. And then, yeah, so, and also, let me talk about some lore I learned. He talks about a little bit in his video. Go check out his video. He has this whole big fantasy showcase where he shows off kind of his new idea of what his characters are, I guess, But, yeah, so, what am I saying? Yeah, so first off, some characters. Hellspawn. I want to talk about Hellspawn real quick, because when I drew him, I think if I knew what I know now, I would have drawn him differently. In this video, I do draw him significantly differently. So you can see here, he has his eyes, has his face, right? But I kind of wanted to make him look this way because I wanted him to look less like monstrous and more human. And the reason I wanted to do that is because in the original video where I drew Hellspawn, I was under the impression that Hellspawn was either a monster or a villain, right? Something like that. But it actually turns out he's more of an anti-hero in Potatomeen's story, because based off this drawing, he's obviously fighting the dragon with everyone else, with kind of the main crew. And I thought he was like a villain to the main crew. So that's why I changed the design here. I make the design, like I said, he has his eyes, he doesn't have the sharp teeth that he has. I know Potatomeen's version, he has the big mouth with the sharp teeth. I decided to go away with that, make it less monstrous to make him look like, he could realistically be part of the team. Not realistically be part of the team, but, be a little bit more anti-hero and not, like I said, straight up monster, straight up villain. And then also I changed the design of the dragon. In his thumbnail, he just used Smaug, which I do like me some good Smaug. I think the Smaug dragon's probably one of the best Lego dragons out there. But I decided to change it because I didn't want to just make it look like Smaug. It still looks a lot like Smaug because it's red, but I give these big horns on the back of the head to make it less Smaug-like. And also, it gives a good place for Hellspawn to be, so he's like grabbing onto one of the things. That's what I wanted to do, make him like grabbing onto the head and about to stab him with the sword. I thought would be cool. Obviously, he's not doing that original pose because there's so much you can pose with Lego. It's not super easy, so a lot of the poses are kind of the general placements, but then some of the specifics of the pose are made up. So yeah, I do really like this Hellspawn design. I don't know if I'm ever gonna like redraw just Hellspawn by himself with this design. It's like I said, it's similar to the one I had, but the face is different. So maybe I might go back to that drawing just for fun and edit that face if I want to. I still really like my Hellspawn drawing. I just think it works better for the villain. As a villain. Now, the rest of the drawings are mostly similar to the way I drew them. because a lot of them don't really deviate from Potatomeen's design. Now, 2 of these I haven't drawn. I haven't drawn this lady, this blue person. Potatomeen requested I call her a blue baddie in this video. I don't know why he wanted me to say that, but he did really request I call that lady the blue baddie. And then you got this lady, the archer lady. I haven't drawn those 2, but I have drawn Potatomeen's character. I have drawn Orga, I think is her name, the giant orc, and I have drawn Hellspawn, right? But I haven't drawn the others, and I haven't drawn Chuck before, so this is the first Chuck. And yeah, this drawing's obviously, you know, when doing like big pieces where there's like multiple characters, it's definitely very different than obviously doing like single character designs, because then you could focus on, you know, how the character looks in particular. With this one, you kind of have to focus on like how the whole piece looks. So that's why I spend the majority of this drawing on the sketching stage. You see, we're already like, what, 6 minutes? No, not 6. I think I stopped like sketching around like the 4-minute mark in this video, which, I mean, the video sped up, I think, 36 times the original. So I spent a lot of time on sketching, just making sure everything looks right. And then here, coloring. You see here, I do purposely make the dragon a very desaturated red, because I did know I wanted Hellspawn to be saturated, and I wanted there to be a difference between Hellspawn and the dragon. I don't know if it worked perfectly. I feel like he still kind of blends into his background. Like the other character, like you see Orga here with her greens and her kind of, you know, dark browns. She kind of pops, you know, up against the dragon. She doesn't really blend in. Where I feel like, I don't know, Hellspawn blends in a little bit, but I try to make there a difference. So like I said, I didn't make it all the same shade of red. I tried to make the dragon very desaturated, which in the original it wasn't. It was a dark red, but it wasn't like a very desaturated red, right? And then we can see here with the other characters, like I said, the problem doesn't really exist. And also another thing that helps kind of differentiate what's his name, Hellspawn, from the background is, like I said, he's grabbing the horn. The horn's a very light color. It's very different than his arm, so, you know, that kind of clues you into, you know, he's like separate from the dragon. Just visually speaking, obviously, you know, if you like look at it, you're gonna know he's not part of the dragon. But still, just so you know, there's no like visual like kind of noise in there. And then this lady, I like how I did her hair. I did like a kind of transition between the blue. I did lighter blue, and then it goes to a white. When, you know, I like to do that with these drawings, to kind of transition the hair a little bit more. I know Potatomeen and his actual customs is not super accurate. It's not accurate to his customs because he usually just does the color. There might be a little bit of a transition, but then it's basically just like the next color, right? I like to do a little bit more of a transition. And then lighting. Lighting was pretty fun with this guy. So I try to make the kind of the background part of the dragon, I try to make that like very dark, and then the face kind of very light. I make the light source basically the fire, because it's like the lightest thing there, right? And I am happy how the fire turned out. I think it turns out pretty good. But I try to do that. So, and also I want the kind of part of the dragon that's behind everyone to be significantly darker, just so it doesn't, like I said, blend. I do kind of wish I made the back part of the dragon a little bit darker. Maybe I wish I maybe shaded it with green to kind of desaturate it even more, so like you wouldn't notice it. Something I am very bad at is making background elements that are not basic but also don't stand out, if that makes sense, right? I know I watch Popcross Studios a lot. He makes some really cool drawings, but he's really good at making backgrounds that are detailed but also don't really like distract you, if that makes sense. And I am still trying to figure out how to do that. I cannot figure that out for the life of me. If I make a detailed, you know, background, it gets distracting, but if I make a very simple background that's not distracting, it's super basic, and it basically doesn't even count for like a background, right? If that makes sense. I think the trick is try to make here I'm making the magic. I'm not super happy with how this lady's magic turned out. I think it could have been better, but yeah. And then rim lighting, I love rim lighting. Rim lighting is so fun. Oh shoot, whenever I do rim lighting for a video, it just makes everything pop, like, you know, especially because of the dramatic lighting of the dragon's breath. I think the rim lighting just makes everything kind of, it also makes it pop out from the background because it's just a really dramatic light spot, you know. And I like that. And then here's the background. I'm not really happy with the background, but there's so much happening in the foreground, you kind of don't notice it. That's kind of my hope, you know. But yeah, then here, like I said, we're restarting from the beginning, and we're making these guys the meme, basically the pointing meme. I'm really happy how this turned out. But yeah, I just would like to say, if y'all like the video, please like, subscribe, go watch the 2011 film Rango. Just have a nice rest of the day, and I'm gonna link Potatomeen's fantasy showcase that I base this off in the description, because like I said, I just kind of copied his thumbnail. Not copied. I did tell him that I was making this, and he's excited for it. So you know, it's all good. Also, something really annoying is for some reason you'll see in this coloring stage, I leave his glove red. That was a mistake. I did not mean to, because then when his glove is red, it blends into Hellspawn, because his hand ends up like right over Hellspawn. That's ultra mega cringe. So you see in the final drawing when I show it off at the end of the video, I do change that because that was a mistake. I did not mean to leave his hand red. I do know why, because I colored the whole thing red and then did the other color over it, and I forgot about the glove. But yeah, and then I really like how Chuck turns out. I think it looks pretty cool. Apparently he's supposed to be a gnome, which, okay, he doesn't look very gnome-like. I thought gnome's like super tiny. I think he's more, I mean, when I see him, he looks more like a dwarf because he's just like short, but apparently he's supposed to be a gnome, which is cool, I guess, you know? And yeah, and also he's wearing purple, so that implies he is royalty. Because it's royal purple, and purple is the color of royal. So he is the richest character alive. He is Scrooge McDuck. He's the Elon Musk of this universe, and he is gonna send this universe into oblivion because he's gonna like open oil mines or something. But here's the final drawing, and y'all have a nice rest of the day. Yeah, enjoy. Check it out. We got first one and second one. Oh yeah, Pronogun. All right, see ya. Ciao.